It all started like any other day. The sun hung high in the sky, casting a warm glow over the cafeteria as I sat with my friends, laughing and sharing stories. But then, my phone buzzed, pulling me away from the laughter. I glanced at the screen, and my heart dropped. An anonymous message read, "Nathaniel is with someone else." Those words hit me like a freight train, and in that moment, my world began to spiral. I stared at my phone, disbelief washing over me. Nathaniel and I had been together for so long. Could it really be true? The thought clawed at my insides, twisting and turning, leaving me in a state of confusion. I looked around the table, my friends' voices fading into a dull hum. "Emma, are you okay?" one of them asked, her brow furrowed with concern. I forced a smile, but inside, I was a storm of emotions. Curiosity bubbled beneath my disbelief. Who was this person? How could Nathaniel betray me like this? My mind raced, swinging between the comfort of my routine and the unsettling truth that loomed over me like a dark cloud. I wanted answers, and I wanted them now. I felt a mix of dread and determination. Something inside me ignited, an urge to uncover the truth. That night, as the moon cast shadows across my bedroom, I made a decision. I would follow Nathaniel. It seemed reckless, but the thought of just sitting back and letting this betrayal fester was unbearable. I needed to see for myself. I dressed in dark clothes, slipping out of my house with my heart pounding in my chest. The streets felt different under the weight of my secret mission, and the night air was thick with tension. I parked a block away from the restaurant where Nathaniel often went. My hands trembled as I waited, watching the entrance with bated breath. My mind buzzed with questions. What if the message was a mistake? What if I was about to ruin everything? But deep down, I knew I had to know. Then, I saw him. Nathaniel stepped out, a smile lighting up his face. But it wasn't just him. A woman lingered beside him, her laughter ringing clear as they shared a joke. I felt the ground shift beneath my feet. My heart shattered at the sight of him leaning closer to her, their chemistry so evident. It was like a punch to the gut, and I couldn't tear my eyes away. How could he do this to me? As they shared intimate moments, my mind spiraled into a whirlwind of emotions. Anger flared up, igniting a fierce desire for revenge. I had trusted him, and now I felt like a fool. I was faced with a choice, to succumb to the pain or to take the power back into my own hands. I felt a chill run through me as a dark thought crept in. What if I could turn this betrayal into something that would make him feel the way I did? "Emma, breathe," I whispered to myself, grounding myself in the moment. But in my heart, I knew that this was just the beginning. The seeds of my future actions were being planted, and I felt a strange thrill at the thought of reclaiming my narrative. I would not be the victim. I would be the force that would shake his world. As I drove home that night, the anger simmered inside me, blending with a newfound sense of determination. I was on the brink of something new, something powerful. I just needed to figure out what came next. Would I confront him? Expose him? I didn't know yet, but I felt the adrenaline coursing through my veins, igniting a fire within me. I was done being passive. This was my story, and I was ready to take charge. As I sat on my bed staring blankly at the wall, my thoughts raced. Nathaniel's laughter echoed in my mind, mixed with the hurt of betrayal. I thought about revenge, the kind everyone expects, exposing him, causing a scene. I could imagine the shock on his face as I unleashed my anger. But deep down, something else stirred. I wanted my revenge to mean something. I wanted him to feel the weight of his actions. I picked up my phone, tapping the screen nervously. An idea formed, almost like a dark whisper in my ear. What if I called the woman? What if I told her who I was? "Hello?" I could hear her voice, as if I was already speaking to her. "I'm Emma, Nathaniel's girlfriend. He's with you. and you deserve to know the truth." My heart raced at the thought. It was bold, and it felt powerful. But as I planned, a nagging thought crept in. Was I becoming the villain in my own story? I had always seen myself as the good one, the one who loved fiercely and trusted completely. Yet here I was, plotting revenge. My heart sank a little. "What am I doing?" I whispered to myself, feeling the weight of my decisions pressing down on me. I shook my head, trying to clear my thoughts. "No," I said aloud. "I have to do this." I needed to show Nathaniel that his actions had consequences. I took a deep breath and picked up my phone again. I would call her tonight. I would make him feel what I felt. As the sun set, I felt a mix of excitement and dread. I knew it was wrong to feel thrilled about this dark plan, but I couldn't help it. I felt alive again, even if it was for all the wrong reasons. I envisioned the moment I would tell her the truth. "He doesn't love you," I would say. "He loves me. You're just a distraction." That night, I sat on my couch, phone in hand, my heart pounding. I dialed the number I had found, my hands trembling. What if she doesn't believe me? I thought, but I pushed those fears aside. I had to do this. The phone rang, and I felt a rush of adrenaline. As it connected, I heard her voice. "Hello?" she said, sounding cheerful. I hesitated for a moment, my heart racing. "Hey, is this Sarah?" I asked, using the name I'd learned. "Yes, it is. Who is this?" she replied, her tone friendly. I paused, suddenly unsure. I have something important to tell you about Nathaniel," I managed to say, my voice shaking. "Really? What is it?" she asked, sounding curious. I took a deep breath, gathering my courage. "He's not who you think he is. He's with me, and he's lying to you." There was a pause, and I could feel her confusion. "What do you mean?" she finally asked. "I mean he's my boyfriend, and you're just a fling to him," I said, my voice steadying. "He doesn't care about you the way you think he does." Silence hung in the air. I could hear her breathing, and I imagined her processing my words. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked, her voice now serious. "Because you deserve to know the truth," I replied, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and guilt. "You deserve better than what he's giving you." After a long pause, she spoke again, her voice softer. "I didn't know. I thought he was different." I could hear the hurt in her voice, and for a brief moment, I felt bad. But the anger inside me pushed those feelings aside. "He's not. Trust me. I loved him, and he betrayed me." Finally, I hung up, my heart pounding. I felt powerful, but a shadow of doubt lingered. Was this really the right thing to do? As the thrill subsided, I realized I was still hurting, still broken. My plan had begun, but I was still grappling with my own pain. I lay back on my bed, staring at the ceiling. The darkness of my actions loomed over me. I was lost, caught between the desire for revenge and the need to heal. I had taken a step into the abyss, but I still had to find my way back to the light. As I sat quietly in my room one night, the weight of my actions began to settle heavily on my shoulders. I stared at the wall, lost in thought. I had been so focused on punishing Nathaniel for his betrayal that I barely noticed I was losing myself in the process. Every moment I spent plotting my revenge pulled me deeper into darkness. But that night, I realized something crucial. I needed to shift my focus from him to me. I took a deep breath, feeling a flicker of hope ignite within me. It was time to reclaim my identity, the one I had set aside while trying to fit into Nathaniel's world. I needed to rediscover who I was outside of our relationship. I thought about all the things I used to love before I got lost in love. Painting, writing, even hiking. Activities that made me feel alive. The next morning, I woke up with a new sense of purpose. I grabbed my old paintbrushes from the back of the closet. Dust covered them, a sign of neglect, but I brushed it away, determined to bring them back to life. I set up a small easel in my living room and poured my heart onto the canvas. Each stroke felt like I was peeling away layers of hurt and anger. As days turned into weeks, I found myself spending more time on my passions. I joined a local painting class where I met other women who shared their stories of heartbreak and healing. One afternoon, while we were all gathered around the table, a woman named Sarah shared her experience. "I thought I would never find joy again after my breakup," she said, her voice steady but soft. "But rediscovering what I love helped me heal." I nodded, feeling understood. I was lost for so long, focused on revenge instead of healing. I didn't even realize how much I missed painting until I picked it up again. "It's empowering, isn't it?" Sarah smiled. "Finding joy in the things that make us whole again." Her words resonated with me. I started to see the beauty in my journey, not as a victim, but as a woman reclaiming her life. I reached out to others, forming connections that felt genuine and supportive. I realized that I wasn't alone in this journey. Countless women had walked similar paths, and together we could lift each other up. One evening, while I was painting, my phone buzzed with a message from my friend Lily. "Hey, how about a hike this weekend? I found this beautiful trail, and I think you'd love it." I hesitated for a moment. Hiking had always been a favorite of mine, but I had avoided it since Nathaniel and I used to go together. But I felt a surge of courage. "Sure, I'd love to," I typed back, excitement bubbling within me. That Saturday, as I walked along the trail with Lily, the fresh air filled my lungs, and I felt lighter. The trees whispered secrets, and the sun peeked through the leaves, warming my skin. We talked and laughed, and for the first time in a long while, I felt genuinely happy. "Emma, you seem different," Lily said, glancing at me with a smile. "You look so much more alive." "I think I finally am," I replied, the realization washing over me. I'm learning to love myself again, and it feels incredible. As we reached the top of the trail, the view took my breath away. The world spread out before us, vast and beautiful. I closed my eyes, feeling the wind against my face, and whispered a promise to myself. I would rise above the pain. Through this journey of self-discovery, I learned that true vengeance was not about hurting Nathaniel, but about becoming stronger. I was reclaiming my identity, my passions, and my joy. I would not allow his actions to define me any longer. Each day, I felt the chains of his betrayal loosening their grip. I was no longer a victim. I was a warrior, ready to embrace whatever came next. As I continued down this path, I knew I was finally on my way to healing, and that was the greatest victory of all. I sat in my car outside the cafe, my heart racing and my palms sweaty. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the world, but all I felt was a cold chill in my bones. I had finally agreed to meet Nathaniel. This was the moment I had been waiting for, the moment I could finally confront him about the betrayal that shattered my life. But as I looked at the entrance, a wave of anxiety washed over me. What if I wasn't strong enough? Taking a deep breath, I reminded myself of everything I had been through. I was not just a victim. I was a fighter. I had spent weeks planning this encounter, thinking of the right words to say. I knew what I had to do. It was time to reclaim my voice. When Nathaniel finally walked in, I felt a mix of anger and sadness. He looked the same, handsome, with that easy smile that once made my heart flutter. But now, that smile felt like a mask hiding the truth. Our eyes met, and for a moment, I could see confusion in his gaze. It was as if he was unsure why I had called him here. "Emma," he said, walking over to my table. "It's been a while." "Too long," I replied, forcing myself to sound calm. "We need to talk." He nodded, sinking into the chair across from me. "I didn't think you wanted to see me again." "Why would I?" I shot back, my voice sharper than I intended. I took a moment to gather my thoughts. feeling the weight of what I was about to say. "You lost me when you chose to betray me." His eyes widened in shock, and for a brief moment I felt a sense of power. I had finally spoken the truth. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he stammered, the guilt evident on his face. "It just happened." "Just happened?" I echoed, my heart racing. "You made a choice, Nathaniel. You chose her over me. You chose to lie. You chose to betray my trust." He looked down, unable to meet my gaze. "I know I messed up. I didn't think about how it would affect you." "That's the problem, isn't it?" I pressed on, feeling a fire ignite within me. "You didn't think. You took my love for granted. You thought I would always be there, waiting for you." "I was wrong," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm so sorry, Emma. I never wanted to hurt you." "Sorry doesn't change what you did," I replied, my voice firm. "You can't just say sorry and expect everything to be okay. You need to understand the pain you caused." He finally looked up at me, his expression a mixture of regret and realization. "What do you want from me?" "I want you to face the truth," I said, feeling a sense of clarity. "I want you to know that your actions have consequences. I want you to understand that I am stronger than you think." Nathaniel's face softened, and I could see the weight of my words sinking in. "I never wanted to lose you," he said quietly. "Then you should have thought about that before," I replied. "This isn't just about you anymore. I am done being the victim. I am reclaiming my life, my happiness. I'm moving on." For a moment, silence hung between us, heavy with unspoken words. I realized then that this confrontation was not just for him. It was for me. I had found my voice, my strength. I was no longer defined by his betrayal. "Emma," he started, but I held up my hand to stop him. "I don't want to hear it," I said, my heart steady now. "I need to focus on my future, not my past. This is goodbye, Nathaniel." As I stood up to leave, I felt lighter, as if a burden had been lifted from my shoulders. I had confronted him, and in that moment, I realized that emotional truth could be more powerful than revenge. Walking away, I understood that I was ready to embrace whatever came next. After my confrontation with Nathaniel, I felt a mix of emotions swirling inside me. I had said what I needed to say, but now I faced the aftermath. It was time to start healing, and I realized that this journey would be just as important as the confrontation itself. I sat on my bed, staring at the wall, and took a deep breath. What do I need to do now? I asked myself. I decided to seek help. I found a therapist named Sarah who specialized in betrayal and heartbreak. On our first session, she greeted me with a warm smile. "Emma, it's good to see you. Why don't you tell me what brought you here?" she said, her voice calm and inviting. "It's Nathaniel," I replied, my heart still heavy with pain. "He cheated on me, and I just don't know how to move on." Sarah nodded, encouraging me to continue. "That's a hard situation. It's completely normal to feel lost, but we can work on it together." Each session with Sarah felt like a step toward clarity. I learned to express my feelings without shame. "I feel angry, sad, and even a bit lost," I confessed one day. "But I also want to become stronger." "Ah, those feelings are valid, Emma. Healing is not linear," she said, reassuring me. "You will have ups and downs, but what matters is that you keep moving forward." In addition to therapy, I decided to join a support group for women like me. The first meeting was nerve-wracking. I walked into the room, and a circle of women welcomed me with kind smiles. "Hi, I'm Emma," I said, feeling a bit shy. "Welcome, Emma. We're glad you're here. I'm Lisa," one of the women said. "We're all here to support each other." As we shared our stories, I felt a sense of belonging. I listened to their experiences of betrayal and heartbreak, and it felt good to know I was not alone. "It's tough, isn't it?" I said during one session. "But I think we can find strength together." "Yes, we can," another woman named Maya replied. Each of us has been through so much, but we're still here. That says a lot about our strength. With the support of these amazing women, I started to rediscover myself. I began to engage in activities I had once loved but neglected. I joined a painting class and found a sense of joy in expressing myself through art. One evening, as I painted a sunset, I realized how beautiful it was to create again. "This feels good," I said to myself, smiling as I mixed colors on my palette. As my healing continued, I also reconnected with friends who had been waiting patiently for me to return. "Emma, it's great to see you," my friend Mia exclaimed when we met for coffee. "I've missed you." "I've missed you too, Mia," I replied, feeling warmth spread in my chest. "I've been working on myself, trying to heal." "I'm proud of you," she said, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Let's make more time for each other. You deserve happiness." With each passing day, I felt lighter. I was learning to forgive myself for the pain I had endured. One morning, while journaling, I wrote, "I forgive myself for feeling hurt. I forgive myself for trusting Nathaniel. It was not my fault." Tears filled my eyes as I realized how freeing it was to let go of that weight. I looked out of my window, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. "I'm ready for a new chapter," I whispered to myself. The more I focused on my healing, the more I understood what my future could hold. Setting new goals became a thrilling adventure. I wanted to travel, explore new places, and meet new people. I told Sarah about my dreams one day, and she smiled brightly. "Those are wonderful goals, Emma. Pursuing what excites you is part of healing." With every step I took, I felt empowered. I was no longer defined by Nathaniel's betrayal, but by my journey of self-love and resilience. I was ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that I had the strength to face it. As I stood in front of the mirror, I hardly recognized the woman staring back at me. Gone was the girl who let herself be defined by someone else's choices. Today, I felt strong and proud. The day of my celebration had finally arrived, and I wanted it to be more than just a party. It was a testament to my journey. I had invited a few close friends who had supported me throughout my healing process. As I adjusted my dress, I thought about everything I had overcome. I couldn't wait to share my story with them and inspire others. I took a deep breath, reminding myself of the strength I had found within. The venue was filled with soft lights and laughter. As I walked in, my friends greeted me with warm smiles and hugs. "You look incredible," Sarah exclaimed, her eyes shining with pride. "Thank you. I feel incredible," I replied, feeling the warmth spread through my heart. The room was buzzing with energy, and I could see familiar faces, all there to celebrate not just my journey, but also the strength we all shared as women. As the night began, I took a moment to look around. I saw women who had faced their own battles, and I felt a deep connection to each of them. I stepped onto the small stage, my heart racing with a mix of excitement and nerves. "Hey everyone," I called out, my voice steady despite the flutter in my stomach. "Thank you all for being here tonight. This is a special moment for me, and I want to share a bit of my story." The room quieted, and I felt the warmth of their attention. A few months ago, I was lost. I let betrayal define me. I thought revenge was my only option, but I learned something powerful. True strength comes from within. I paused to let my words sink in. I could see nods of understanding from my friends. I was hurt, and it was okay to feel that pain, but I realized that I needed to find my own voice to reclaim my identity. I learned to love myself again. As I spoke, I saw Sarah wipe away a tear and smiled at her. It wasn't easy. There were nights when I felt so alone, but every time I picked myself up, I grew stronger. I want you all to know that you are not alone. We are all warriors in our own right. The crowd erupted in applause, and I felt a surge of joy. I continued. I started pursuing my passions again. I took painting classes, joined a support group, and even started a new job. I discovered so much about myself in the process. I realized the greatest victory is not in hurting others, but in rising above the pain. After I finished speaking, I stepped down from the stage, feeling lighter than I had in months. My friends rushed over to hug me, their faces beaming with pride. "You were amazing," Sarah said, her voice filled with emotion. "Thank you. I just hope my story can help someone else," I replied, looking around at the smiling faces. As the night went on, we danced and laughed, celebrating not just my journey, but the bonds we had formed. I felt a sense of community and empowerment that I had never experienced before. Later in the evening, as I sat with Sarah and a few others, she said, "You know, Emma, I think your story will inspire so many people. It takes courage to share your truth." "It does," I said, feeling a wave of gratitude. "But it also takes courage to face the pain and choose to grow. I want to pursue new ventures now, whether in my career or my personal life. I'm ready for whatever comes next." And in that moment, I knew I was ready. I had turned the page from betrayal to empowerment. Nathaniel's betrayal had hurt me, but it had also led me to discover my own strength. As I looked around at my friends, I felt a deep sense of hope and determination. I was ready to embrace the future, no matter what it held. Share this story if you believe that true strength lies in overcoming challenges and embracing your journey. Leave a comment about a moment that inspired you to rise above adversity, and subscribe to the channel for more empowering stories like this one.